Hey everybody.
And now a dance intermission.
Wow, this is it.
I love they moved us into this big
Your
room as a
microphone
direct
is
hit
on.
to my ego. They should have just kept us in there.
Into the
Don't
mic.
worry,
I
most
cannot
everybody
hear
who wanted to be
you
here for
over
you
You said
said
this is it right into the mic. I'm like, hello.
No, I mean like, is this everybody? Is
Now
what
I see
meant.
what they say about you. Ego is massive.
Just massive.
Hi everyone. What's this panel called? Yay!
Hold on. Crossing realms,
Animal
playing across
Crossing.
genres from
Oh.
anime to video games, robots to animals.
Oh great, sick. Okay, well why
In
don't
live
we...
3.
In
Hi
live three.
everyone.
Sorry, guys.
This is gonna be so good. I can feel it in my bones. Let's go down the thingy and introduce ourselves. Hi.
Hi.
That's not how it works.
I'm Suzie Yeung. It's nice to meet you. I'm a voice actor, and I do roles like Makima in Chainsaw Man, and Yuffie in Final Fantasy VII.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And Fuka in Persona 3 Reload. And Eula in Genshin Impact.
Hi guys, my name is Erica Lindbeck. One of you. That was lovely. I am also a voice actress, and I voiced Luna in Hell of a Boss. Thank you. So I'm one of the female Helldivers in Helldivers 2 that just came out.
Hell
so
yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, it's fun.
my
It's
wiki news.
really funny. It's probably some of the funniest dialogue I've ever gotten to say in my whole life. And if you've played it, you probably know why. And then I'm Futaba in Persona 5. Thank you. And at least like one or two other things, I'm sure, allegedly. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Griffin Burns, also voice actor. Let's see, Muichiro in Demon Slayer, Akira Fudo in Devilman Crybaby, and Dobio in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Child in Genshin Impact. Many others. Thanks for coming out today.
Oh, I'm Chevrolet in Genshin Impact. I forgot to say that. Thanks, guys.
You had to double back and
I had
up that.
to. I had to do it to him. You know?
I'm probably the most rookie out of all these people up here. I don't have like the big credits like that, but my name is Kouryou Ngin. Go by KO. I'm an actor, stuntman, and now I'm doing more motion capture for video games and voice acting. So working with things like I'm like all the random, trying to be the random voices in Demon Slayer, like the and all that stuff. And then like I do stuff for like Rockstar Games and other video games coming up. So happy to be here.
My name is Chris Hackney. I'm also a voice actor for things like Dimitri in Fire Emblem Three Houses, Ayato in Genshin Impact, Jin in Persona 3 Reload, and Raru in Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It's gonna be fun, guys!
Yeah.
Yeah!
Hi guys. My name is Jonah Scott, and I'm a voice actor, I guess. I voice like Legoshi in Beastars. I'm Aiden Caldwell in Dying Light 2, if you've played that recently. Coming up, I voiced Solemn Gus in the new Final Fantasy VII game. A bunch of other stuff, but I'm glad to be here. I voice animals. That's on the panel title, right?
Legoshi is an animal, right?
I technically, yeah. He is a beast.
Beast acting.
Huh?
Furry, right?
Yeah, they pay me rent. Let's do this thing.
Awkward silence.
Awkward silence, because we don't know what we're doing.
So I mean, what it sounds like is it's kind of a Q&A situation, right?
Yeah.
Ask us about whatever, about
Anything.
who we voice and why
Direct
we
it.
voice.
Yes, you. Fine.
Take that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I voiced Katsukon in One Piece, the Mochi Man himself, and that was one of the few like Texas dubs that we got to audition for. They sent out auditions for Whole Cake Island, and I'm a weeb. I'm not like up to date on the One Piece manga or anything like that, but I know the show and I know the gist of it, and I loved Katsukon, and it was one of those auditions where you're just like, oh wow, I would really love to play this character because he's got a really cool depth of character, but like I'd also want to play this character because Katakuri's really, really cool, and he's super neat, and he's one of my favorite villains in the show. So it was super cool to get the opportunity to read for all of those, all the Sweet Generals. That was really cool. So I got a bunch of those, random auditions on my hard drive that aren't Katakuri. But Anthony Bowling and company, they gave me a phone call, which is very rare unless it's like your agent. They gave me a phone call, and he's like, "Hey, do you really want to do this? Can you do this?" Like he put my own like skill in my own head, like questioning it in my own head. I'm like, "Can I do this? I don't know. This is One Piece. I don't know if I can do this." But we went in. We had a lot of fun. Bowling established a character, and then we went from there, and it was great. I absolutely love Katakuri. He's kick-ass. Like it's great. What about you, Chris?
I auditioned for him too, actually. All those other Sweet Generals, even though I'd just been in the show too. But that was fun. In One Piece, I play Gunsmoke Vito, who's the dude with the gigantic ass hands and the tongue hanging out, who has everyone has a very specific laugh in One Piece. Mine was
Katakuri doesn't laugh.
Aw, come on. Everybody who has a laugh in One Piece, it's very specific. That's the only thing I really know about One Piece. Look, there's some animes where I will start. We're up over 1,100 episodes right now, and I'm like,
It's also One Piece, so that's a hard one to...
Well, One Piece is a great show. Like, I know the general story of it. It's just a matter of, okay, do I want to sink, like, a year of my life into watching this one anime, It was fun. I had been working with Funimation. This was during the pandemic. I'd gotten to work with them on a couple other shows, like when we did the Scarlet Nexus anime and Attack on Titan and some other stuff. So Mike McFarlane just asked, like, "Hey, I want you to come in." I didn't even know what character I was playing until we got on, like, so he put it on the screen, like, "So this is the guy you're gonna do." I'm like, "Okay. What does he sound like? Okay. I get to do that? All right. Let's do it." It was fun. I love, like, any kind of goofy, weird, and especially villains. I'm here for it every day, all day. It's just a matter of, you've got 10 seconds to figure out what you're going to do, and go! Which is always a fun challenge. Yeah.
Good question, thank you.
Yeah.
So are you all interested in the differences between anime voice acting versus video game? Because I feel like that's the vibe of the panel, right? So you want to learn a little bit more about the differences? Is that cool?
That is
Do you
what
guys
it's
want to
called.
talk about that? A little bit?
Why don't you brought it up? Why don't you talk
yeah,
about
now
it?
I'll pawn it off on you.
You seem like
the delegate.
expert on this.
Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure everybody gets what they've come here for.
Right. And not all the Q&A panels sound the same.
Yeah, seriously. Well, I guess I'll start. I won't say everything, but they can actually be similar. But anime in general, you go in and you've already got the pre-recorded Japanese version, right? So you're matching flaps. So it's a very technical craft. It's not only performance, but it's also very technical. So you're matching flaps. They're rewriting on the fly a lot of times because it's too long or it's too short. It's underwritten or overwritten. And then after you've gotten the timing down, then maybe the performance is a little off. So anime in general is just like really technical.
Yes.
With video games, you have a little more freedom unless you're matching to picture.
Yeah.
Sometimes with games, there are cutscenes. There's tons of games with cutscenes now.
Yeah.
But video games are often like 300 cues.
Yes.
And by cues, I mean lines. And you'll do like effort, line. And it tends to be a faster process. But there is some carryover, especially like if you're doing an anime.
Like Persona is a
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, go for it.
I know you wanted me to. So a great example of, save you from yourself. A great example of a hybrid would be something like Persona. So I'm sure you guys were similar to us, the oldies from Persona 5. That was so long ago. But like for me, most of Futaba's lines, I was on my own. Like I got to just do whatever I wanted. But then they'd go, okay, we have some timed lines that we need you to listen and repeat. Like her navigator lines, for example, I was echo repeating because we had to match for time. And also it gives a lot of context. Like if that VO is already there, and it needs to be really, really specific as far as the vibe goes. It's nice to have that reference. And then if you have something like, I know a lot of you know, like Hell of a Boss obviously has been Hotel, that's all the same creator. I am laying down the performance and they are animating to my performance with something like that. So like Luna is purely my performance, and then they are going in and animating to it. It's prelay, yeah. So that would be like an animated series that is essentially being animated, yeah, to your perforance.
And prelay, at least pre-pandemic, was you'd actually be one of those times where you get there with everybody recording. Because I worked on the show called Lego Friends, where it was like there would be times where like 10 of us would be in the room recording together for things. Versus like I don't know how they do it for Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss, but I imagine it's probably individual from home. Which
it's not from home. It's in a studio, but yeah, it's individual.
Yeah, it's different in the today days now.
Yes, and then some of the ensemble stuff is coming back, but then it also dissolves again. I started a show that was ensemble, and then a month in, they're like, actually, we're still not sure about this whole COVID thing, so it isn't quite back to normal, even though they've tried to. Maybe
Also, people don't want to leave their
unstable
these days.
Yeah.
And it's been proven that we can record pretty successfully from our home studios, which has become awesome, but also it's a little bit of a bummer because we don't bump into each other as much anymore. It's not as social.
Yeah.
But anyway, any more questions?
I want to add, before we go to something else, just if everyone's like wondering like ensemble and just recording by yourself, being someone who was from like the film and on-camera world, you get to, like if you're doing a scene with someone, they're right there. If we're angry at each other, we're here yelling at each other, and you could build that up. Voice actors don't get enough credit that sometimes you don't have any of that. You're creating everything in context. Even if it's raining outside, you're yelling across something. You have to create this whole environment, especially in like mocap, by yourself. And so when you get to work like ensemble with the rest of your peers there, doing a scene, it's a privilege versus just like remotely by yourself, carrying the scene on your own. So that's one thing I have, like from film to voice acting, I give voice actors so much credit.
Thank you. I think every day to myself that I don't get enough credit.
Oh, well, no.
It's true, she doesn't.
I do, so I
Suzie, can you cut her off?
Please stroke her ego, guys.
Yeah.
Yes, you.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the red?
Yeah.
I'm a lifelong dub and video game voice actor fan, so this is like my Super Bowl.
It's the better Super Bowl for sure. Yeah.
It's like the Puppy Bowl, which is better.
Why did it keep going?
Is there a general preference over? I know that dub and either like cartoon like Hell of a Boss or video game is very different in general because you get to put more of yourself into a performance when you're doing something from scratch that has not been already animated. Do you think that there's a general preference over doing one or the other, or do you think one is usually looked over more than the other?
I think that they're very, very, very different skills. For me personally, I do like being the OG performance. It just gives me a lot more freedom. I feel like that's really where I shine, which is why a lot of my work is video games, because I really just enjoy that process of kind of, but I also like, there's nothing more rewarding to me than dubbing an anime really well, and making it look like that performance was animated to, or that what's on the screen was animated to my performance. So I don't know that I necessarily have a preference because they're so different. My ego would tell me, yes, I want to be the original performance, but I also think that there's a really cool skill in matching time and all that, and I get a lot of I just feel very accomplished when I'm able to do that well. So yeah.
Yeah, it used to be that, well, it still is. Original animation is one of the hardest genres of voice acting to be a part of. You're competing against everyone, the on-camera people, everybody. But I will say now anime's become so hot and everybody wants to be in that, and now it's becoming really, really hard to be a part of those shows too. So, and at one point it was like there's a lot of clout in being in an original animation, and I still think there is, but interestingly, there's more fandom with the anime, and so I feel like, I mean, I want to be in anime just as much as I want to do the original animation these days.
Yeah.
Whereas when I started my career, I was like, oh, I just want to be on a Nickelodeon show. I just want to be on a Cartoon Network show. So it's changed a little bit. It's not bad or good. I don't know.
I agree. I think I used to think that one was like better than the other, quote unquote, when I first started. But then when I got over myself, I realized that all of it is actually really cool, and I love working on all of it. For me, it's truly all about. I just want to work with cool people on cool projects that everyone cares about making as good as possible. That's truly all I care about. I don't really care what it is at this point.
Yeah, I totally agree with that sentiment, but I think in terms of anime, there's so many other parts that are completely out of your control. And I think that the actor is like the last denomination of the entire production, for the English part, that is, because the writing and the directing, and it's already pre-animated, so there's a lot of things that we as actors, there's only so much that we can control and put into the performance. Whereas, like everybody said, with video games, there's more leeway there. But yeah.
There's also a fun challenge when, like it is a game that's being localized, like a Japanese game, like a Persona or Fire Emblem, where like you don't necessarily have even though there already is a Japanese actor there, you don't necessarily hear or have reference to the original. So actually what you are creating is original. And then you come back and maybe you'll do the ADR scenes later.
That's what happened to me with P5. I swear, I did not hear Futaba's Japanese voice until we were matching nav lines. 60 hours into recording, and I was like, oh, I'm glad this is kind of close. Like,
that was me with Three Houses, because I had no idea what the Japanese Dimitri was doing until we we recorded most of the game and then came back later for the ADR, and then I heard it for the first time. I'm like, oh, well, that's different. Let me try to thread that needle.
That's why Futaba's, fun fact about Persona 5, everyone's really into Futaba's gremlin laugh, that but I never heard Aoi Yuki's gremlin laugh, and hers is like heh heh heh, and mine is because I had to make it completely separate from hers, so that's why they sound different, because I never was referenced for it.
I wonder if it's on purpose so that you're not influenced. But at the same time, it's like, if you're in a different pitch, then the character is like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Because there are some points where I'm trying to do like a grounded read for a character, but then they're actually like this. I'm like, oh, okay.
Sometimes they don't want that though.
Yeah,
so
that is true.
That's true. Yeah, anyway.
Question here, red pants.
Red pants, yeah. In the case of like Persona 3 Reload for like Jin and Fuka, like did you guys take like the original English like performance into account?
Original English?
Yeah, for the original Persona 3, did you play on the PS2 or PSP?
Oh, I did not. Personally, I haven't played the original, but I think we were encouraged to go with our own take, really. So I didn't even know what it was when I first auditioned for it. So I was like, this looks like what the character should sound like, so I just did it. And, yeah.
I remember getting those auditions, and I know they were code worded, but I texted Valerie Aram and I went, this looks like Persona. She goes, yeah, don't audition for it, you're not going to book it. And I went, okay, I won't read on it. She was like, you're not allowed, no.
I did have experience with Persona 3. I played 3 and FES on the PS2 back in the day, but I didn't want to do anything really close to what Grant did, and when I did get the audition, I knew what it was. Like, I knew the characters already. But like, I just want to do my own thing with it. Same thing when it comes to like anime in general. Yes, you have a guide for what the character sounds like in Japanese, but we're adapting and localizing it for America, so I want to have my own level of fun with it and make it mine, as opposed to copy-paste what Japanese did, or what like Grant did back in the day, you know? It's more fun.
A little comment on that. I'm a player character in Dying Light 2, and because of that, the game was entirely made in Poland, in Polish. The whole thing's in Polish, right, originally. But you aren't playing it in Polish. You're playing it in the lingua franca, English, right? But there's also, and I had to listen to all the lines in Polish first, and then, you know, as the motion capture guy who was like, had the, you know, the GoPro on and whatever, and he was able to like get the movements down and everything like that. But for all of these games, every game you play, there are a bunch of other dubs too. There's Italian, there's German, there's French, there's Japanese. If there's a Japanese Aiden who, you know, is Polish and then English and then went to Japan. So it was really cool for me seeing all of those other people pop up because I was the lingua franca voice of the player character, but they were basing all their performances on what I was doing and not on the Polish, which I thought was kind of bonkers because the game developers were just like, oh, you're Aiden. I'm like, cool, thanks for casting me. They're like, no, you're Aiden. So they took my picture and they took my headshot and they made him look like me. And I'm like, whoa, okay, I didn't sign up for this. Don't you guys have to pay me you gotta pay me a likeness fee. And they're like, not unless we scan you. You don't have to pay your likeness fee. But yeah, it was like, it was crazy. But like me as a little baby voice actor, you know, getting to see my face in like a video game, right? It's pretty nutty. But like, yeah. Something that I wanted to point out is that there's a bunch of other voices out there. They're of your favorite characters. There's German, Italian, like the German Katsucon. He's really cool. If you guys, and he does a lot of other like anime and video game dubs and stuff like that. And sometimes that's another thing that I notice is that a lot of those actors cross over with us at some point. We're like, hey, I was you in a thing, and I was you in 2 other things before, and it's like maybe they like to cast us, I don't know, we sound similar. But it's kind of neat, so yeah, there's a lot of other different voices out there besides just the English and the Japanese. Like, it's neat to sometimes flip through those and like listen to it for like 10 minutes and then figure out how to turn it off.
And seeing who else they voice in their native language.
See what the crossovers are there, what the Venn diagram looks like for that game, and you know, it's pretty cool.
The super sexy voice in Japanese is also the one who does Japanese SpongeBob. Nice.
Yeah, neat. Okay, cool. Guys got range. Sweet.
I was gonna say, in video games, like Suzie was saying, sometimes, like I know some voice actors get hate because they're like, this is nothing like the original Japanese. Sometimes, like, it's code worded. They don't want you to know what it is, so you don't have that, you know, idea in your head already, because then you're gonna go in there and it's not gonna be free form. You're already gonna have like a blueprint in there. And sometimes, like Erica was saying, like, you'll read something. I got an audition, and it was just like, no matter how they tried to hide it, I was like, this is Monster
They forgot to blur out the word Jedi in this one.
It was like something, it was so obvious. They're like, you catch big beasts, these are your calls as a soldier. Then you shoot a net at it and all this stuff. I was like, this is Monster Hunter. I knew what it was, and I was like, great, now I have that in my head. And it's like one of those things, you don't want to have that, and you just want to create whatever it is, because sometimes they want something different, you know, they want something completely different. And I did something for like Netflix, and I did the same thing. I would go down English, Italian, Spanish, and just listen to all the lines in all the different languages and be like, oh, that's nothing like me. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and then for, you know, a foil to that, I just worked on a game where they were insistent on me sounding exactly like the Japanese actress. Yeah, it was just, they didn't even want to deviate from her tone, like her intonations, which was really interesting because I haven't experienced that. But so it turned into this like very technical thing, like even more technical than echo and repeat, because they were like, no, it must be the exact same, even if like the context of the line had changed in localization. So that was really interesting. That was like, yeah, that was a puzzle for sure.
Straight back.
This is a question for Kouryou. Can you talk about your transition? Hello. Can you talk about your transition from film TV into voice acting, and also how your motion capture journey ties into all of that, and also about motion capture, how you got into that as well?
Yeah, being on camera, like, it's so different because like we could whisper, we could be in the moment, everyone's quiet on set. Like, the sound guy's got a boom mic somewhere. Like, you don't have to worry about anything, you know? You're just doing your job, you go there, you're in the environment, which, you know, is completely different from voice acting. You know, if I'm on a street, I'm on a street. If I'm on a mountain, I'm on the mountain. Like, in the car, it's happening. So then when you go to having all that around you, which helps so much, which is why I give voice actors like they're just due. There's so
You
much.
really should give me my.
Yeah, not except for Erica.
Just Erica.
Like,
You're
Only
great,
Erica.
Lindbeck. Thanks.
everyone, I swear you said you got over yourself, but I'll come on back. Anyway,
You haven't known her long enough.
yeah. But so when you go into a studio where there's like no circulation, no AC, because it'll pick up everything.
What studios are you going into? We record in back alleys.
I started from the bottom, okay? All right?
No, you're right.
So-
You're correct. Sometimes, but most of the time, no. There's
Well,
like
now-
air conditioning.
Yeah, you know, it's nice and chilly.
Yeah.
He's going to the wrong studio.
Yeah. Where are you going?
I'll talk to my manager. My goodness. This is in my rider. Don't do cons with Erica. All right. No. So
this was a
going
mistake.
into
Yeah.
going into a studio and like he was saying matching flaps, like I would do dubbing for Netflix. Imagine like changing the way you talk, the cadence, the intonation to match something else, and it's like karaoke for lines. And you have to. It's such a technical skill. It's so different from just being able to do your interpretation of things. You have to, with anime, the characters created, the storylines created, it's like less direction, right? Like they were saying, it's less about the actor. We have to come in and be a tool to fit what's already there, you know? So that was a big change for me, from being able to do what I wanted or what I thought the character was to just being this is it. So that was the biggest thing. And then even when you add motion capture, it's the same thing. You're in an environment, but you're not. It's just like imagine like you're in a big green screen studio, but I'm fighting like, you know, TIE fighters and I got lasers coming out everywhere and I'm supposed to have 2 lightsabers, but it's just me holding like 2 plungers and a weird like suit.
I had to do. Did anyone play Spider-Man 2? I'm Black Cat in those games, and I did full body mocap for her cutscenes for that little mission with Miles. And I was on a set, and I had like, I just all the props were so funny, and they had blocked them all for a right-handed person, and I'm left-handed. So imagine, so I'm sitting there trying with Doctor Strange's frickin' artifact with my right hand, and I can't do anything with my right hand. And they're like, okay, so you shake it, and I'm having trouble because the prop is so heavy. I'm like, and they wanted me to wink with I know I mocapped it because there's a gif that was going around on Twitter, and she winks with her left eye, and I can only wink with my left. Because then she turns and she's like, because I was like, I can't do it with my right, I have to do it with my left. But it was, it's truly crazy. You have to have like a wild imagination. But I will say, like, being able to be on a mocap set and actually, because I'm a theater girly. Like I come from, you know, being able to. I remember I almost took out a few Neumanns when I first started doing VO because I would move too much and I would almost kick things and stuff. And being on a mocap set is such a treat, truly. Like it was just so cool. Anyway, that was a tangent.
How did you guys get your mocap gigs? How did you? I think they wanted to know about that
They were
too.
good.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't do a ton of it. I just did it because.
Did you audition or?
Well, I do stunts, so
I do not.
obviously. Ambidextrous. No, that's her stunt right there. No, so I do like martial arts. I was a professional dancer, MMA fighter. So I had this background of movement. So most of the motion capture people you see, like you were saying, animal acting, like there's a course just for like creature acting for mocap. When you see like those wolves or those weird monsters that are animated, that's a human. Yeah, like those are, you know, when you see like the behind the scenes of them in that weird suit, and there's classes just becoming a creature. So a lot of those people, like people with movement experience, like theater, dance,
no, but like
stuff.
what you do, I remember watching some of the stunt guys because like mocap set, like you know, I had like my 3 scenes and I would sit the entire day, you know, and wait, and I would get to watch the actual mocap people, like the Spideys, the guys who were doing the stunts for Yuri, and my Black Cat, Amy, who's like incredible doing all of her crazy flips and stuff. It was bonkers. It is such a skill set in itself. Like being able to do that. That is so different from anything I will ever be capable of doing. Just watching like Nashir Dalal do the move sets for some of the like the Hammerhead thugs in the original Spider-Man. Watching him, oh my god, he was like knee sliding across the volume on a piece of cardboard, screaming. I mean, it was, and the cool thing, the interesting thing about mocap too is like, it's still kind of the wild, wild west, so you're constantly just trying to pivot and figure out, okay, how do we make this scene? What building blocks do we have to put up here in order to make this work, or to get, to get the effect we want? So we're just like, all right, we grab some cardboard, and now Nashir is just sliding across it. Like, it's crazy, crazy.
Just also, you were saying giving us our due as voiceover. I'd like to give you your due as an on-camera actor, because like when we have to do live action dubs, there's such subtle movements between the face and the body and the eyes that we have to try and portray with the voice, and there's a totally different set. It's one of those things where I've said to many people, like, I could never do on-camera work, because that's a whole skill I don't have. So props to you, not to Linda, to you.
All right, right here.
I don't know that I could choose. Yeah.
For me personally, it is Yuffie in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, because remake and Rebirth. Sorry. I personally have not been on a project that feels so meticulously cared after. Like, we took so much time with it, and everybody on the line was, figuring it out. We didn't have all the pieces, but it was just a really great experience. I love working with my director, Kirk. He's such a grumpy old man. I love him. And Yuffie as a character is so dynamic, and I feel like, especially as women, we don't really get a lot of opportunities to play characters who have so many different dimensions to them. Especially when you work in anime, I feel like we sometimes can fall into tropes, and that can be a little limiting as an actor. So I really appreciate that I get to explore so many different facets of personality with this role. So, yeah.
My favorite is Aiden, and you guys may be thinking, dang, has this guy done anything else? But like, I was that character for 6 years. I've been that character since inception. Like, I shouldn't have been cast. I was the scratch vocals for the character, and I was working with like the narrative leads, and I knew what the game was because I had played the original Dying Light. I was a huge fan, and I basically begged them while I was recording in my closet. I'm like, guys, I love this franchise. I love Dead Island. I love Dying Light. Like, please, can you give me a chance? And the guy who was like booking me was like, all right, I'll send him an email, but nothing's going to happen. And nothing happened for 2 years. And they're like, yeah, well, we sent out auditions to like agencies. This was before I was like represented. We sent out auditions to agencies, but nobody sounds like you, man. So you're Aiden. There you go. Congratulations.
That's a real thing where they will fall in love with the scratch, and then they'll just end up because then that's what's in their head, and then nobody can match that. That's a real thing.
I mean, that's how like some storyboard artists end up kind of being on the show.
Yeah, you can match style.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my favorite, just because he's kind of grown, like a fungus. He has grown around me.
I refuse to have a favorite. I love all my babies for different reasons.
Right here with the mask.
Yeah. So I was curious if there have been any performances, whether it's voice acting, theater, or film, that have basically inspired you to go into acting and voice acting.
My favorite anime of all time is Hellsing, and I'm obsessed with the dub, and I watched it religiously when I was younger, over and over and over again, and those performances are just, I would encourage you to watch it. If I would do Hellsing Ultimate over the 13-episode anime series, but the 13-episode anime series has a better soundtrack, so do with that information what you will. But those performances especially, I mean, it's just an embarrassment of riches, that whole show. And as far as, I think I just went, God, I really want to do that. Like, watching Crispin Freeman is just such a talented actor, and his performance as Alucard is heart-wrenching. Like, it's so good, yeah.
I didn't really know what voiceover was until I moved to Los Angeles. I think I grew up with cartoons and like everybody else and enjoyed it and was always creative. I played in bands and stuff, but I don't think I knew it was a real profession. I think in my mind it was just like a celebrity job. Like, I don't know, growing up I watched this show called Bobby's World, and I think Howie Mandel voiced the dad, and I thought, okay, well, so it's like celebrities and comedians, and didn't know that there was like a working actor, a working voice actor. So it wasn't until I moved out to Los Angeles and then happened to get an audition that I was like, oh, this is a thing. So I can't say there was like a particular show that inspired me, but I'm grateful I fell into it and discovered the world that it is.
I also feel like that too. Like you watch Kung Fu Panda and every single voice is like a celebrity. I didn't really think like normal people could just come in and like do that. I thought about like film and TV and acting, and then like before, like when you think like when anime was just in its starting to breach the US, like with Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon and stuff like that, there was this show on like basic network TV. Sometimes it was there, this channel, sometimes it wasn't. It was like 57 or something like that. And there was this show called Ronin Warriors.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, this is the coolest fucking shit ever. Excuse my language. I was just like there, it was before its morphin time, and I would scream that at the top of my lungs. And then of course, like you were saying, I didn't think about it. And then video games with like Master Chief, like in Halo, I fell in love with this guy. I was like, that's my dude. So I didn't think it, but I'm glad I'm here. So
my inspirations have more been video games. I really wanted to just move out here and do the whole like, oh, games are movies now. So there you go, we can do that thing. And then I discovered that anime, like I loved anime my entire life, but I always thought, in my ignorance, my infinite ignorance, I thought that, oh, they just grabbed the janitor off the street and just like put him in there. It's a dub, right? Like, what is that? Wow, it's crazy. But then my respect for it grew immensely once I, attempted to do something like that. I slept on my buddy's floor for a couple of years, and he's the one who taught me how to dub like anime, and it was like a really like full of respect and like a rigorous thing where he was just like, all right, let's get up and let's try and fan dub this anime, this real one of this anime movie. And we did that, and we would go back and look at our work and things like that. And that's where I was just like, oh wow, there's real artistry to it, and it takes a lot of work and actual like real raw talent to make it like good, to sit down and be like, wow, this dub is good. But yeah, so that's where I'm coming from.
In the wig, right here with your hand up? Yeah. Yes, you.
Cool. Hi. So you kind of already, do you want me to stand up?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, go for it.
You kind of already mentioned it a little bit, but how has your experience with the pandemic changed how you voice act? Specifically, where you're at right now, since we are kind of post-pandemic. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think it's changed it in that we still probably predominantly record from our home studios. I am going back into studio more and more.
I'm mostly in studio.
You're mostly
in studio.
Only my commercial clients are from home now.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think also you can choose if I'm given the option, I will go into studio. So that might be just
I'm
me.
the opposite.
Oh really? I like leaving. I need to leave my home.
I need to stay in my home.
Yeah. Point being that it's still on the table to be able to record from home. Yeah. People sometimes require you to be in studio, but there is always the backup option now. And I will say that I think every one of us has invested in a home studio. You couldn't have done the pandemic without it. So a lot of people went out and bought Studio Bricks booths, which is like a fancy modular booth that's made in Spain. They're great booths if anybody wants to get.
I have one. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. So it's my favorite.
Probably the most aesthetically pleasing looking.
It's like
booth
a little room.
Although make sure you put your priorities and what you need before you buy something like that.
Yeah.
I was in a vocal booth to go that cost me less than $1,000 up until 2 years ago. For my whole career, I booked Jessie in the Final Fantasy VII remake on a on a USB mic in my closet So don't think that you.
Yeah, you don't
obviously.
need thousands of.
Yeah, I recorded
You
the
definitely
entirety of Attack on
don't.
Titan in one piece.
But I think
yeah.
the pandemic made us
Yes.
up our game.
Because we had to
If
have
you're working
broadcast quality.
Yeah, if you're working professionally, working a lot, you do want the best at some point. But you don't have to start with the best. I started with a $200 mic and a $400
Yeah.
laptop. Yeah, I think that's one way it's changed. What else?
I really
Anything?
think it's awesome because it really opened up the world of voice acting.
true, yeah.
You know, it's not just landlocked to Texas or LA. You
Yeah.
get a whole bunch of talent all over, and it's so diverse. And to hear all these different voices that you've just never heard of before, but they're amazing. It was an incredible time, and I don't know. I personally thought that was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it made me really appreciate being in the studio once we got to go back
Yes.
in.
Oh my gosh.
Only because, like, recording from home, being able to work on something like in Texas with Crunchyroll is amazing. When you just, I don't have to fly to Texas if I want to be in a show or something. That's great. But to me, art, video games, anime, animation, all of it is art. And art is collaborative, so getting in the studio with people is a totally different vibe than just sitting in your booth and like you hear a disembodied voice in your ear giving you the directions, and you're talking to them like people, but you're alone by yourself, and it's kind of weird.
And you're doing your own engineering.
And you're doing your own engineering.
Having to act while like scrolling your mouse and.
I'm about to.
Did you remember to run your backup?
Yeah.
Oh shit, we peaked on that. Turn your gain down. Nope. A little bit up. A little. Nope. Back down a little. Nope.
I've never been more indignant than when I had to engineer myself during the pandemic. I was so mad.
Yep.
I was like, this is not allowing me to do my best work. Like, what on earth? Or you do a great take and it peaks and you're just like, oh my god. That happened on Demon Slayer so many times. I was.
Yeah.
Oh, you were remote for that.
For Demon, yeah, for
Oh,
Daki, yeah.
So
Yeah, there's so many.
So
people.
hard to
Let's
choose.
get to as many questions.
Far right
All the way.
or our right.
So a lot of you guys play characters with really big fan bases. I want to know how the fandom for each of you guys has affected you positively versus a negative experience.
positive and negative.
For your characters affected us positively.
Yeah.
We can't talk about anything negative.
Yeah, no. No, we can't. God, we're all
Nothing
aligned on that. The Hell of a Boss fandom, the Hell of a Boss / Has-Been fandom is freaking wild. And I love them very much. That I've never seen, I didn't know what it was like to voice a wolf, a wolf girl, and now I know. And y'all are wild. So there you go. But no, I can't really think of a lot of negatives. I think it's great when things have fan bases and people are passionate. So
Yeah, the Demon Slayer and Genshin primarily is really changed my life. I wouldn't be here if that game hadn't happened. I wasn't a convention person. I didn't go out to cons. I've been doing voiceover for about 14 years now, but cons just started like 2.5 years ago, primarily because of the Genshin fandom. So that happened, my social media blew up, like the way I use the internet has changed. It's been a wild ride. It's been really fun, and I'm really grateful. If you want to talk about anything negative, I would just say that out of the pool of fans, I'd say 99.9% are amazing, good human beings that want you to succeed and like what you do. There is always going to be a small percentage that hates your ass. Just know that. So if you're doing something and you're having success at it, you'll want a little piece of evidence that you're successful is that somebody's going to hate what you do.
The first thing somebody said when I moved to LA was, I know somebody that absolutely hates you. And I'm like, great, that's going to live in my head the entire life.
As soon as I moved there,
Great.
they're like, oh, you're that guy. We don't like you.
Great,
I'm like,
good
what
stuff.
did I do? I just
And you never will know.
yeah.
if you ever, fun, this is a fun thing. If you ever really want to mess with someone's head, I'm so mean. If you ever really want to mess with someone's head, just go up to them and go, hey, I just want to let you know that I personally have no problem with you being here. Just do that, and then kind of walk, and then slow fade.
You see why we treat her this way?
I just want to let you know that, listen, I don't care what anyone else says. I personally am happy that you're here.
I've gotten comments like that online actually. They're like,
what?
I don't care, like, whatever the haters say, don't worry, Griffin. I'm like,
Listen.
I don't even know what they're saying.
I've gotten
Tell
that
me what
before.
they're saying.
It's like, don't listen to anyone. And I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
What?
Thank you for not scaring
Yeah.
me.
That was the positive thing that it taught me is it taught me the lesson, never read the comments section.
Yeah. Don't read your good press. Don't read your bad press. Just don't. Like, yeah, it's not worth it.
But it's great that there's so many people that like, I'm a nerd. I've been playing games since I was a wee lad, a gamer of a certain vintage. Yeah.
Bottled in
My first console was a ColecoVision, all right?
Oh my God.
Nice. Commodore 64.
I had a Commodore too. I played on my Tandy PC back in the day as well. Yeah, I know. Don't at me, I know. But like finding people that are passionate about stuff that I like, nerd stuff that I like, was like, woo, my people. I found my people. Yay. It's happy.
The furries saved my career. I had booked one lead in my life, and the rest were all like incidentals. And then I'm just like, I was this close to moving back to Cincinnati, and they basically all banded together. I started streaming on Twitch. They banded together, and they're like, "We're gonna make sure that this guy has a career, and we're gonna make sure that he has rent to pay. So we're gonna pay."
That's the furries, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
They're
Y'all
great.
are crazy. You're
Yeah.
wild.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have like
I love you.
minutes left.
Yeah.
Just everybody.
Maybe one question more? Two?
One or two more. Maybe on the left.
Who? Which one? Oh, this one?
Oh, yeah.
Pointing
Yeah.
left.
You.
Glasses.
Go.
Working on projects that are multiple years long, do you find your performance changes at all over that time?
Yes, I've been voicing Futaba since I was 24, and I'm 31 now. And I was so terrified. I went, this is such a miscast. I cannot believe that they're having me do this, because I didn't audition for Futaba. I was offered the role because I'd worked on Shin Megami Tensei Apocalypse, and I'd gotten to know Atlas through that, and I just went, ooh, this is not going to be good. I was so scared. And now it feels like putting on an old pair of boots. It's so cool. And Futaba's been through a lot. She's had such an incredible character arc, and honestly, so I've been through a lot too. So it's really cool. I've changed as a person, and that, of course, affects the performance. Yeah.
I think what's cool to voice someone over time is that you get to see your own growth over time as well. Because I remember when I first went in for Final Fantasy VII, that was one of the first things that I did. I was super nervous. And like, I was so stiff that the director was like, all right, like, I don't know if this can work out. But over time, I got a lot more comfortable with the team and everything, and grew some confidence over the years. And so I think that, yeah, that definitely helped the performance throughout the years.
If it makes you feel better, I was the same with Jessie.
Yeah,
oh my God. I was so scared, so out of my depth.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, really fast, like looking back, once you're with like a company like Ubisoft or like Rockstar Games, like you're in, and I'll sometimes go back and look at stuff when I first started, scared of what like I thought soldiers or like thugs or whatever it was supposed to sound like, and I was like, who is this noob? Like, no wonder the comments say that, you know, or whatever. But then, like, you mature, you grow, and you're like, wow, they keep bringing me back. I must be doing something right.
You're like, wait, am I the best actor ever
Oh my
on the
God.
face of the planet? Is that
You know?
what you think? Because that's what I thought too.
Erica, I don't care what everyone else thinks about you.
Except she
Like,
is.
You're okay.
My own words, they taste so sweet.
I think we have time for one last question.
Yeah.
Who really, really wants to ask their question?
Yeah.
Straighten those arms
Raise
out.
your hand.
You have to like
really
wave your
high
hand
if you
violently.
really
You gotta work
All
for
right,
it. You
way in
gotta
the
want
back.
it.
White wig.
Okay,
To be.
So my question is related to kind of like research and stuff that goes into your part. So have you guys met your Japanese counterparts, and what is it like kind of going over your character with them? And particularly, I know that there's a difference in how people reacted in Japan to Chainsaw Man versus how people reacted to Chainsaw Man in the US, and how that kind of worked
I
out.
wish.
So I have, and I was really excited. It was actually funny you say Chainsaw Man, because it was the Japanese voice actor for Makima that I met. And it was during AX, and she wasn't doing anything Chainsaw Man related. She was just a guest there, but I was like, I have to meet her. I see her name on the list. I have to meet her somehow. I don't know how, but I will. So I snuck in the back of the panel, but like not intentionally. Like I followed the rules and everything, but I think they thought I was just part of the staff. So like her Japanese entourage. A little bit, but it was okay because through that I got to meet her and she was so sweet. She was super excited and I was super excited to meet her, and like I gave her a little gift. So like she had to go on our panel, so it was a very brief meeting, but I'm so glad I got to just meet her in
really
person
cool.
and then really just appreciate each other for being like counterparts. And so yeah, it was really exciting for me.
I got to do it once. There's this show called K Project that I was in. I voiced Yukari Mishakuji. And for the premiere of the final 7 Stories movie, they had me come out to New York, and I was on a panel with the Japanese counterpart for my character, as well as Stephanie Shea and the producers at Gora. And I just happened to be, we were all back to sign autographs and stuff, and I was talking to Stephanie, and he came up to me like very excited, to meet me, and it was really weird. We also had like similar colored outfits on that day. Through the interpreter, we were talking about the experience on the show, and the Gora producers asked me about doing my English voice for them for Yukari, and they got very excited because they said it was just like what they envisioned the English would be. So it was wholesome, and me being like Babby voice actor at that point, I was like, oh, thanks guys. Yeah.
I really hope I get to meet Miyuki Sawashiro at some point because my God, my entire career is just on her back. Because we sound like, thank you for having a similar vocal quality to mine, ma'am.
If I was to meet one, it would be, I have voice characters this guy has voiced like upwards of 10 times. Tsuda-san, Kenjiro Tsuda. I would probably like push to the front of a line or something like that to be able to meet him, and he'd just grace me with his voice once. That would be amazing. But yeah, I'm putting it out the universe, the energy out there. Please,
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Well, I think that's the end of the panel. Thank you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys so much.
I hope you had fun.
Yeah. Check out everyone else's panels, like click your name.
Yes.
Also, other stuff, their autograph sessions.
Yeah, we're signing right after this.
I was gonna say I'm heading to the
Yeah, I am
dealer
too.
room soon, so if you want
And
to
listen, no matter what anyone says, I'm happy you guys came, okay?
Yeah.
Damn.
Thanks, guys. Take it easy.
I'll be in the VIP autographs like
Ooh.
in 2 seconds, and then I'll be down in the hall myself.
Yeah, let's get it. Enjoy the con.